there, my name's Beth, and today I'm going to be doing my May wrap-up. It's so crazy to believe that May is already over and that it's almost June. It will be. But yeah, this year just seems to be flying by, and so with that all said, I'm going to be showing you what I read in the month of May. I did end up reading quite a bit this month, thanks to various readathons, and I will kind of get into that during this. I have not done wrap-ups for the readathons because most of the month was readathons, so that would just be my entire wrap-up. But I ended up reading 10 books this month, which is craziness to believe. Normally I read like 3 or 4 a month, so clearly these readathons helped. 4 of the books were graphic novels, and it's kind of obvious which ones I read in those once I start showing you. But yeah, I've never read graphic novels before, so that was a nice change. And then there are 6 novels, and 3 of which I listened to as audiobooks. So it was a good mix of various ways to take in the information. So let's get started. The first book I read was The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. This is a historical fiction book which takes place in the 1930s Nazi Germany. Around that, 1939. Yeah, so the late 1930s, early 1940s Nazi Germany, and it follows our main character Liesel, who is a 13-year-old girl when the story is being told. She's not the narrator per se, but she is the main character we follow in this book, and yeah, I really enjoyed this book. The narrator in this book is death, which I thought was a really interesting concept. It is a pretty sad book. It does deal with a lot of the Hitler era and all that, and Liesel, our main character, is a young girl who, once they start burning books and burning any information that the people of Germany could get, she starts stealing them. And yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, just because there were some parts where I found it kind of slow, and I know that with a serious topic like this, it can't just be fast-paced all the time, but it took me quite a while to get into. And yeah, so I have not watched the movie adaptation of this book, which is this is the movie cover, but I will hopefully get around to that in the next couple of weeks, and I might do a book and movie comparison type video. So yeah, this was the first one. The second book, I've listened to The Book Thief as an audiobook, and then I also listened to this one as an audiobook, and that is The Beginning of Everything by Robin Schneider. This book is such a light, breezy contemporary, but I just had so many problems with this book. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, but I might say it's more like a 2.5 out of 5-star book. It was easy to get into, yes, and the writing is okay. It's just the characters I found so obnoxious. The main boy character is this hotshot jock, and he gets into a car accident at the beginning of the book, and then the rest of the book is his struggle through high school and fitting in with his popular gang again, but he doesn't. And the main girl character she just shows up randomly, and there's insta-love, which just really frustrated me. And she is so dependent on the main boy character that just really annoyed me too. So I recommend going into this book with a clear mind, I guess. Just like, if you're going to read it for fun and nothing else. But I probably will not be picking this book up again. So yeah, this is a 2.5 star out of 5. The next book I read was such a nice change, and that was Magonia by Maria Devana Headley, and this book is so good. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. This is definitely one of my favorite books I've read so far this year. This book follows a young girl who has this rare condition where she can't breathe. And one day in class, she sees a ship go by in the sky, but everyone else thinks she's crazy and she's just having an episode again. And yet, somehow, over the course of this book, she ends up on the ship where she can breathe. So, yeah, it was such an interesting concept. I would compare this book to kind of a mix-up of, like, Peter Pan and Treasure Island, but with kind of hints of the Fault in Our Stars in there. And that might be totally wrong, but I loved this book so much. So, yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. The next 2 books I read were actually graphic novels. The first one was Saga Volume 1, and I have not hauled this, but I have hauled it. I'm pre-filming all these right now, so I haven't filmed the haul video, but the haul video is going up first, so yeah. This is Saga Volume 1, and I really liked this. I actually enjoyed it so much, more than I thought I would. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars just because for a first volume, it really gets you into the story, and it tells you, like, everything you need. Yeah, but it was super good. This book follows 2 main characters, a man and a woman male and a female, who are from different worlds, who the worlds hate each other type of thing, and they have a child. So basically, everyone is on a hunt for them because they are wanted, I guess. Definitely check this out. I highly recommend it. I've heard so many good things about this book, or this graphic novel, and the whole series, but I will get more into my thoughts on that after. But yeah, so I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I picked up Volume 2 of Saga, and I picked up the first volume, the first volume and the second volume during the Bout of Books 13.0 readathon. These were so fast to fly through. I read them in like an hour each. There's a glare on it though. I read them in like an hour each. They were so just fast-paced. It's so easy to read. The pictures and the artwork is just so cool in there. It is definitely an adult graphic novel because there is quite a bit of adult content in this. But yes, I gave Volume 2 4 out of 5 stars just because I did not find it as fast-paced and engrossing as the first one, but I still really enjoyed it. Next, I listened to, as an audiobook, 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. This book was so good as well. I have been putting this book off for so long. It's been on my shelf for probably 2 years now, and I've heard so many good things about it, but it's the topic it's about that has been just pushing me back. But I heard, I believe, from, I think it was Little Book Owl's channel, she listened to it. I could be wrong in saying that, but she listened to it as an audiobook, and she was highly recommending it because it is kind of a dual perspective in a weird way. And the audiobook has a male narrator for the male character and then a female narrator for the female character's part. So it flows like a conversation, more or less, as an audiobook. And I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, which I don't think I would do if I was actually reading the book. But because I listened to the audiobook, it definitely is a 5 out of 5 story and a 5 out of 5 book. So, in my opinion, this book follows our main character, Clay, who one day receives a box with no return address. And when he opens it up, there are 13 audio tapes from Hannah Baker, who is this girl who went to class with him who just recently committed suicide. And on these 13 audio tapes, as we listen with Clay, listening to them, or as we read along as Clay listens to them, we get Hannah Baker's story of why she committed suicide, more or less. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. A lot of the audiobook is Hannah Baker talking, so the female perspective, and then in the midst that you'll get the male perspectives, like remarks to what she's saying, so it's really like a conversation, and I really enjoyed it. So if you have not picked this up, I really recommend this. There are triggers of suicide, sexual abuse, and depression in this book, so definitely don't force yourself to read it if that's something that triggers you, but it is definitely worth a read, and I recommend this as an audiobook more than just reading the physical copy. So that was what I read for the Bed of Books readathon. For the Ribsat readathon, I ended up reading 4 books, and that was these are the last 4 books I read this month. The first one I read, or I guess the 7th book I read this month, was Perfected by Kate Yarvik Birch. This is a really short book. It's only about 300 pages, and it was so fast to fly through. This book takes place in a world where young girls are basically raised from birth to become pets for wealthy families, and it's a really creepy society they live in, but it was definitely a really interesting story. We follow a main character who is one of these girls who gets bought by this family as their pet, and she just, you see her grow as a character, but also kind of as a human more than just being a pet. Yeah, there is a sequel to this book coming out in this year, I believe, and I actually kind of want to get my hands on it, so to see where this story goes. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, just because it was a little bit slow, and there are a little bit, there's a little bit of things about this book that I just didn't love. It was more of like, I didn't love the book, but I really enjoyed it type of thing, so yeah, 4 out of 5. Next, I read Saga Volume 3. Again, this is a continuation of the Saga graphic novel, and I gave this volume 4 out of 5 stars as well. Again, it was, it's still really good. I didn't like it as much as the first volume, but it was definitely still really good and interesting, so. Next, I feel like I'm just talking a lot. Next, I read The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, and this is the first book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series, which I don't know why it's taken me so long to get into this book. This is a middle grade book that follows our main character, Percy Jackson, as he explores the world of being a half-blood. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people know what these books are about, so I'm really not going to give a description, but I loved this. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I flew through it in like 2 sittings, and I am a pretty slow reader, and this book is pretty chunky. Not super chunky, but it was really fast to fly through, so yeah. I am hoping to pick up the second book in the series in June, but I will get into all that in my June TBR. And the final book I picked up, and if you have not noticed this trend, you probably will know what I'm going to say, but the final book I read in May was Saga Volume 4. So I've read the first 4 volumes of Saga in 1 month. Again, this is so good. This takes us further into the world of Saga, and I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars just because this one I really loved, and it just keeps getting better. So, yeah. So that was all I have for today. Those were the 10 books I read in May, which is crazy because I have never read that much in 1 month this year so far, or in the past year. And yeah, I read a lot of really good books. So in the comments below, let me know what you've read in May or what you plan to read in June. And until next time, which will probably be my June TBR, but it might be something else. I don't really know what else I'm filming today. Have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you again soon. Bye!